Fernando leads the all-party parliamentary group on blockchain, ensuring it is designed and delivered in accordance with the vision of the APP chairs, officers, and advisors. As part of his core responsibilities, Fernando conducts the background research and compiles the evidence gathered by the group in order to inform parliamentarians and other key stakeholders. He also runs the Blockchain for Government Council program. Fernando is in charge of the design, planning, and delivery of the projects under the umbrella of the APPG on blockchain as Blockchain Live Showcase, along with the big Innovation Center team, where he's a blockchain researcher and project manager. Fernando has more than 12 years experience in project management, business processes, and operations planning. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Leo, for the introduction. I am going to share my screen. I don't know if
you should be able to.
Yeah, it's allowed to me. Could you see my screen now?
Yes.
Let me put in presentation mode. Yeah. Could you see my screen? No.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, first of all, on behalf of Big Innovation Center and the APPG on blockchain, thank you very much for inviting us to this Construction Blockchain Consortium annual conference. It was a pleasure for us to be here one more year, as we were as well in the 2018 in Paris. As Leo did in a small presentation, my name is Fernando Santiago. I am a civil engineer. I have worked more than 12 years in the construction industry, basically leading large civil engineering projects as project manager within the main contractor, basically. However, 4 years ago, I decided to focus my career on the supply chain management, and I decided to do a master's degree, executive master's degree in Cranfield University. That was back in 2016, where I came across the blockchain technology. A bit of introduction about Big Innovation Center and the APPG. Basically, the Big Innovation Center is a think tank and a management consulting company that exists to help business, governments, and universities to put their open innovation principles into practice. Big Innovation Center convenes a global network of companies, public agencies, and academia around new technologies as blockchain and artificial intelligence. Between my roles, among my roles in Big Innovation Center, one of them is I am project manager for the APPG on blockchain. The APPG is a working group within the UK Parliament that brings together policymakers, academia, business, and civil society based in our quadruple helix innovation model to explore the latest developments in blockchain industry, its benefits and risk, and as well to inform the Parliament with this. Our mission is to ensure the industry and the society benefit from the full potential of blockchain and other distributed technologies. Basically, our journey today, or our presentation today, honestly speaking, the invitation to give a talk in this forum provides me, I think, a unique opportunity to try to put under the same umbrella of presentation the three expertise and passions I have, what is construction, supply chain, and blockchain. I will take you in a 15-minute journey where we will go through basically what are the blockchain principles that the previous speaker did a small introduction in the white paper, bring you a big picture of where the blockchain industry, the UK blockchain industry is at the moment. Try to understand the complexity of the supply chain, so what are the main problems of the construction supply chain and how blockchain can address some of these issues. And ending, try to understand the challenge involved in the process to bring new technologies as blockchain to the construction industry. Basically, let's start. Blockchain principles. Basically, blockchain is a new technology, but it's not, from my point of view, it's nothing much complicated than a database. It's a distributed database. But the reason we are here today is because blockchain technology have some unique principles. Well, I can list 4 of them. One of them is peer-to-peer transmission. Transmission occurs directly between peers, node to node, without the need of a central node or single point of trust, without the need of a central authority. Distributed. Each party, component or node of the blockchain network have an update version of the database. Another principle is consensus. Each single entry on the database needs to be verified by the members of the blockchain network. And the last one, but no the less important, is one of the most important, is the immutability of the records. Cannot be altered, impossible to delete or modify a data entry once it's added to the chain and distributed. That is the main principles that is going to be based the whole presentation, no? And what are the characteristics? Blockchain industry. We have explored what is blockchain. Now let's explore where the blockchain industry is at the moment. The blockchain journey started in 2009 with the famous white paper, Bitcoin white paper, written by someone called Satoshi Nakamoto, a group of people, or someone no one knows. But it took until 2014 to carry out the first proof of concept outside of the cryptocurrency fields. We went through this small proof of concept during this year, and during 2017, we went through this, it was called ICO bubble, where it was a huge bubble, but later on the year was burst. But where are we now? Basically, I think, or at least from my personal opinion, we are in the right place, and it seems we are in a promising time, or in the right time. In terms of timing, according to the Garmin, sorry, let me put my, according to the Gartner Hypercycle blockchain application on the supply chain, is at the peak of the inflate expectation phase. I mean, we have a lot of expectation now in the implementation of blockchain in different supply chains. Among them is the construction supply chain. We are at the point where many ideas are developed with the aim to be the next blockbuster. Unfortunately, for some of these projects, some of them will fail and others will be success. But fortunately, we are one step closer what Gartner called the plateau of the productivity, where mainstream adoption, is this area here, where mainstream adoption starts to take off. Gartner considers it's going to be around 3 to 5 years time. This is going to happen. The place, without any doubts, we are in the right place. The UK is the largest investor in blockchain technology by far. In 2019, a report from the European Commission calculated the investment in the UK doubles the European investment of the rest of the Europe countries put together. No, I mean, we can see on this graph the fraction of the UK is more than the 50% in investment in comparison with the rest of Europe together. Following this, the Big Innovation Center published in 2018 a report where we map all the companies involved in the blockchain. We managed to identify more than 200 companies and 180 investors, and as well 20 think tanks have or research companies in researching in this technology. So I think, or we consider, that we are in the right place and we are at the right time to explore further this technology. Then one of the applications of this technology, one of the main applications outside of the cryptocurrency is the supply chain. And I think that is quite related to the construction supply chain. And as our previous speaker mentioned, the cash flow in the supply chain. Basically, let's do a small introduction to the supply chain. What is a supply chain? Basically, a supply chain is a structured manufacturing process where raw materials are transformed into finished goods and then delivered to the customers. In the case of the construction, mainly the goods, the raw materials are transformed in the site of the end customer. One thing that characterizes the supply chains are the flows. Basically, in a supply chain, we can distinguish 3 flows. What is the physical flow? One is the physical flow. What is the movements of goods and service from suppliers to building sites? Goods and service generally flow from the source or point of origin to the customer or point of consumption. Another one is the financial flow. Financial flow is payments, is cash flow, is movement of money from one side to another side. Is usually is in the other way around than the materials, than the physical flow, from the customer to upstream on the supply chain. And finally, we have the information flow. This flow includes all forms of communication and data on the system, as product data, description, pricing, inventory levels, purchase orders, delivery notes, invoices, so on, certification of the products, and so on, so on. It is the flow that fits the system and the rest of the flow with data. I mean, it's what feeds the physical flow and which feeds the financial flow to do the payments. Nowadays, we have to say nowadays, not just in the construction sector, companies struggle to access and synchronize data across their entire supply chain. They struggle to access to the information. Financial flows are directly linked to the information flow. So I am going to focus on how blockchain can improve the information flow and consequently improve the cash flow in the construction industry. Construction and supply chain. I mean, the construction supply chains suffer from common problems from other supply chains, and some of them, they are a bit higher in the level of the problem. No, complexity is one of them. In the construction supply chain, we have several tiers with a large number of subcontractors and small contractors. At the same time, with this huge number of subcontractors and on a project, they are quite disaggregated. This complexity makes the construction supply chain a disaggregated supply chain in terms of corporation, a lot of small corporation, and even geographically in different parts of the country, working in different sides. The consequences of this is basically the construction sector have a low transparency. And without any doubt, we can consider the construction supply chain an opaque system where it's quite difficult to find information more than one tier up and one tier down from you. I mean, more than your supplier is quite difficult to find information. And what makes this? This makes a lack of trust between the stakeholders or among the stakeholders. If we combine this situation on the construction supply chain with what I consider is a low digitalization of the construction sector for several reasons, like I think the lack of the digitalization of the construction sector is influenced because, for example, there is a lack of replication. Each project is different, decentralization. I mean, many of the offices of a construction company are sites. We are not in the same building in a city where we can do this implementation straight away. It's an industry in a constant change, and the fragmentation, as mentioned before, is really, really high. For example, technologies such as BIM were expected to provide the next stage change for the construction industry in the last decade, but how is nowadays when we are seeing full implementation? The overall result of this information flow, in the information flow, is the creation of data silos of information. Silos create the reduction of companies in the access to data. I mean, companies really struggle sometimes to access to data. This occurs because the current IT systems keeps the information within the companies, within the boundaries of the companies, creating data silos in different types of the construction supply chain. Thus directly reduce the supply chain traceability and visibility, which have a huge impact in the ability to respond to the current change, like today, the current pandemic we are dealing with. It has, I mean, these data silos have an impact in the visibility, which have a direct impact. This impact in the visibility have a direct impact in the trust among stakeholders, preventing the supply stakeholders to collaborate between them. And with this starting point, with a low collaboration, a low digitalization of the industry, I'm going to try to explain how blockchain can help to improve information flow and consequently the visibility, traceability in the supply chain, and ultimately the cash flow in the supply chain, in the construction supply chain. Basically, we can see here a supply chain with a blockchain implementation. Now we have our blockchain layer. Below that, we have our smart contract layer, but we are going to be focused today in our blockchain layer. We are going to analyze the use of this blockchain technology in the construction information flow from two variables, traceability and visibility of the supply chain. Currently, as mentioned in my previous slides, we have several data silos through the construction supply chain, which deters the supply chain participants to have traceability and visibility, which is key to have collaboration in the supply chain. The idea of blockchain used in the construction supply chain is to create a single database a single database where we can record all the transactions of the materials, of the payments, or everything. This database is shared and distributed among all the stakeholders. So the whole journey of the materials and service are recorded on the blockchain. Each transaction, movement of materials or papers or documentation is recorded in the blockchain, including properties, events, transactions. With this, we are going to achieve our first goal, remove the data silos from the system and create what we call, or what the blockchain industry call, the single version of truth. What happens once we create a single version of truth? With a single version of truth in the supply chain, it's going to allow to us to access to the data. The access to the data become instantaneous, implying past and live data. What is going to increase this? This is going to increase the traceability. Data, as is put on the blockchain by consensus, can be trusted and quickly accessed by the stakeholders. This is going to have a direct impact on the visibility, increasing the visibility of the supply chains. Records can be held in the long terms, which make companies liable for the expected life of the products, increasing liability. Long term, I would like to stop a little bit on this point. Long term in construction is particularly, I consider it's particularly important. We can speak here about retention, guarantees, and money, but overall, long-term records will reduce the risk of the supply chains, and it will boost good behaviors among stakeholders. The records are going to be there forever. Traceability and visibility of the supply chain will be improved drastically impacted by the implementation of blockchain. Instant and shared traceability can bring to the construction industry cost reduction, reduction of the cost monitoring, financial, when we are speaking about recalls from wrong products, or even can underpin the brand reputation. When we are speaking about supply chain visibility, blockchain increase the visibility. This increasing in the supply chain visibility is going to bring us more control in the supply chain. Visibility provides the supply chain manager with greater control of the supply chain and his decision over it. Confidence. And increasing visibility leads to an increased control. This increased control increases the confidence of the supply chains, which leads to more lean operation and decreased uncertainty in the supply chain. Transparency. Supply chains supply chain visibility enables the supply chain to be transparent, providing the right information at the right time, matching supply and demand. And finally, synchronization. Supply chain visibility will catalyze synchronization in the supply chain and will make the supply chain work under a single supply chain plan, or like we call in the construction industry by a single work plan. I think for the first time we are in front of a technology that can capture and share information across the supply chains, and that information is trusted by all the stakeholders. What is gonna be the consequence of this? The main consequence for this, from my point of view, is the increase in the traceability and visibility underpins the supply chain power increasing. When we are speaking nowadays of competition is not anymore between companies. Competition is between supply chains. I mean, there is no competition between main contractors. It's a competition between the main contractors and their supply chains, the tier 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the supply chain. Then I think we can help with blockchain to increase this power, increasing and increase the competitiveness of the companies and the supply chain. But this is going to bring to bring blockchain to the supply chain is going to have some challenge. For me, the first challenge I can find, or we can find the many research projects we are carrying on, is the education challenge. Without a clear understanding about what blockchain are, their potential impact is sometimes misunderstood and more often is ignored or refused. Technical complexity and risk often are an obstacle for the construction executive ability to truly engage with the emerging technology. Collaboration. For the implementation of blockchain, we need collaboration. It's a collaborative technology. This is not like other technology, like artificial intelligence you can buy for your company, implement it in your company, and it works. Blockchain is collaborative. If we are not able to put many stakeholders on a blockchain network, it couldn't work. I mean, at least we don't get the real value of blockchain. There is another challenge, I think, in the construction industry is the lack of dialogue between competitors, the stakeholders, clients, even the governments and the construction sector. And this is more, and the last point is more a problem of the blockchain industry itself, or how, when we set up a blockchain network, is how we are going to governance that blockchain. It's clear that to create more collaboration, we are going to need more trust between stakeholders, and that is one of my purpose of this task. And conclusion, just to close my talk, I would like, if you have to take 2 takeaways from this talk, is one of them, we have this technology there. Technology works, blockchain works. The technology is the easiest part, but we have to collaborate. We have to build sharing consortiums with competitors, with suppliers. This will build the awareness, and it might spark innovative ideas, so new uses of blockchain in the construction industry. And we have to build pilot projects. We have to build proof of concepts. I mean, we are a construction sector and we know how to build things. We have to be technological thing. We have to coordinate with our suppliers, with our clients, to build this proof of concepts, to test it, trial, to get errors, to get trials, is the way to succeed. Unlocking blockchain ecosystems and piloting what can be achieved only can be done with the hands-ons, with the implementation. That is almost my talk. Thank you very much for having me today. Let's try to affront this difficult journey to implement a new technology on the construction industry. If you have any doubt, please don't hesitate to send me an email. My contact details are here. Yeah, happy to participate in the Q&A and the panel after that. Thank you very much, Leo. I come back the presentation to you.